Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors. And today's topic is the stigma around overweight/fat and how to break it. This is actually a topic I have a lot to say about, so I'll try to keep it brief to fit in the video. Basically, there's obviously a definite stigma around being overweight. It's an unfortunate stigma. And I tend to think that it is three words that begin with unfair, unproductive, and unacceptable. In a lot of ways, it's really sad that being underweight is seen as attractive and just fine when being overweight is seen as unattractive and not okay at all. It really bothers me. In many ways, it's a societal thing. We base overweight on numbers that someone made up. How silly is this? Who wants to live their lives around numbers? Why should we? Who decided these numbers were the correct definition of too fat? I'm talking about BMI, body mass index, things like that. We all know that BMI can indicate underweight or overweight for certain individuals who are actually extremely healthy. BMI doesn't take into account muscle mass, athleticism, etc. It's really preposterous to use BMI to classify every individual in this world. And I'm going to put a link in the info section that it's a link to body mass index photos of real people and what they're classified as underweight, normal, overweight, obese, morbidly obese, the categories like that, so that you can see basically how skewed BMI can be. Okay, so the stigma around being overweight, it can be seen in places like fashion magazines. You see all these women who are very thin, and most have no curves at all. And some women are built this way. Some are healthy, but some are not. And even if all of them were, it indicates to the reader that the fashion spreads represent all women or most women, and that is just simply not true at all. Glamour is a magazine that comes to mind that has begun to feature models of different sizes much larger than the typical fashion model. They did an article on this a few months ago. I'm not sure what month the issue was. I wish that I still had it so I could hold it up and show it to you, but you can definitely search for it in a search engine. I'm going to post a link up here to a couple of videos that refer to the specific woman that started off this whole trend. They featured her in a spread. It was actually a photo of her. It was like a nude shot, but she was covering everything, and she had what people were calling belly rolls, and it was just so interesting because she's a gorgeous, gorgeous woman, and there were so many wonderful responses to this photo of her. Good media response, good reader response, things like that. But anyway, they started showing plus size models and basically just women of an average size instead of a tiny size. And it's really funny because they classified this woman and other women in a couple of the videos that I'm going to post these links to as plus size models. And they're not plus size at all. Like, when you see these videos, when you see the photos of these women, you are going to see what I mean. I mean, there's nothing plus size about them. It is so crazy. They're just your regular, average woman looking beautiful. And we just have this stigma around being overweight that it's just crazy. But anyway, kind of going off on a tangent, but people who were reading articles in this magazine, who were seeing the photos of these real women, and they were all sizes from what you would call average to what you would call plus size, etc., etc. Definitely some of these women would be classified as overweight by BMI standards and just by a media societal standard. But people could finally see themselves in the models shown. They could see, like, this woman looks like I look like, and it was just really comforting. And some other magazines are starting to do this, to incorporate women of larger proportions in their fashion spreads. It's very much the minority, though, and many fashion designers still will not comply with clothing that fit larger women. Many words associated with people who are deemed overweight are lazy, stupid, disgusting, bad, ugly, and it makes me really, really sad. And what's even sadder is that when these people begin to classify themselves this way, I mean, it's because they probably hear it from every corner. None of these adjectives have anything to do with being overweight. And as I said, the term overweight is not even always correct. Furthermore, many individuals who are overweight have eating problems in the same way those who are underweight have eating problems. There is no difference. A person can be very unhealthy if truly overweight, but a person can also be very unhealthy if underweight. The reason so many find those who are underweight so much more attractive is really because it's been ingrained in our minds from birth in this society. Some societies aren't like this. There are many African societies, for example, that view fat as the most beautiful thing a woman can be. It's all environmental. Being underweight does not make a person better. It does not mean they are stronger or have more willpower. And it does not mean they are less inclined to be lazy. I wrote a paper back in college several years ago, which I presented at the Geis Research on Women conference. It was called The Culture of Thinness, and it had a lot to do with eating disorders, but it also had a lot to do with the media. It had a lot to do with the stigma surrounding the word fat and people who are deemed overweight and things like that. So I thought I'd read you a few excerpts as they apply to this week's topic. Not only are positive themes associated with thinness, but there is a distinct stigma associated with fat. According to Western culture, thin is wonderful and fat is horrible. This stigma alone can influence the choices women make and the actions they take. Since fat is something disgusting, women who are overweight or feel that they are overweight may be distressed. If this daily distress becomes bad enough, many women may develop self-damaging behaviors or eating disorders. All the negative messages surrounding fat can cause women to have negative feelings about themselves, and these negative feelings can increase until women feel what is known as body hatred. And who does she have to thank? The media. Now, I don't feel that the media is the cause of eating disorders. There are very, very many psychological factors that influence eating disorders. Eating disorders manifest in different ways for all of us. My eating disorder certainly did not come about solely because of the media. I just think that it doesn't help when a person already has an eating disorder. And in particular with this topic this week about the stigma surrounding fat and being overweight, the media does have a lot of influence on that particular thing. Something can be done about it. First on the list might be fixing the media. Despite the fact that girls and women often feel inadequate compared to many of the unrealistic and pervasive images the media presents, these images still remain the basis for beauty in our society. Not all media is like this. There are images of natural, full-figured, and beautiful yet imperfect women out there, but this is certainly not what women most often see. The majority of ideas and images in media of Western culture drives home that a lovely and likable, slender appearance is much more important than being smart, successful, or healthy. So, how to break this stigma about overweight/fat? Use your voice, okay? Your voice is the number one most important thing that you can use to break this stigma, to stop this stigma, to turn it around. Subscribe to the magazines that show all kinds of women. Write to the ones that show a healthy perspective and a diverse view. Let them know that you appreciate this. Let them know that you like this, that this is loved, that this is wanted, that this is needed. And write to the ones that don't show that and let them know that you want more diverse options, that you want to see women of all shapes and sizes, that you want to see women that look like you, that you want to see women that are role models for all women, not just one cookie cutter type of woman. Be positive to your friends. Promoting healthy body image can start with you and those you love. If your friends are beautiful and not thin, tell them they are beautiful just as they are. Don't let people talk down to you. If you're called a bad name because of your weight, set someone straight. Let them know that they hurt you, and things won't change if you stay silent. So people will only treat you the way that you teach them to treat you. So if you let them walk all over you, if you let them call you names or make comments about you based on your weight and you don't say anything, they're only going to continue to do that. Don't be judgmental, and talk to those around you who are judgmental based on weight. Be aware. The more aware you are of how society changes in good and bad ways, the better off you will be, and the more you can push those changes in the right directions. So that's what I have to say on this topic in a nutshell. Hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time.